Got video going. Wow, I'm trying to remember where we're at here. Season 2, episode
3, right?
Wow, episode 3. Okay, coming down in 3, 2, 1. Hi, and welcome to Conversations with Myself.
A journey of self-discovery.
Man, I am embarrassed. I almost forgot the name of the show because I was so focused on all these other things going on, and we haven't done an episode. Do you remember the last time we did an episode?
It was like the one with Ray, right?
Yeah, but do you know when we actually taped that episode?
Wasn't it in like February?
Yeah, I think it was January 31st, and today is what, April 10th?
Yeah.
So it's been a little bit since we've done a podcast, and I feel bad about that. But I mean, there's been lots of crazy stuff going on. We'll get to that. But before we get too far along, in case you guys forgot, I am Brent, and this is my coronavirus-free son,
Bob the Builder.
And I'm Handy Manny. No, this is Xavier. I'm Brent, and we are the co-hosts of Conversations with Myself, a journey of self-discovery. In case you're tuning into the podcast for the first time, what we do is, trying to get this microphone out of my face if you're watching on YouTube, we sit down, we talk. Usually we have like a question and answer period based on a specific topic. Today's kind of different. We don't have a specific topic planned out. It's more or less, I mean, we're quarantined in the house. We've been in this house for like 3 weeks. So I thought, let's just do an episode based around this whole virus thing and what we're doing and how we're dealing with it. So before we get into that, I do want to go back and talk about our episode number 2 with Ray Asensio. He called in from Flint, Michigan. It was really cool to have a chance to talk to Ray.
Yeah.
I think that really meant a lot to him, for him to be on our podcast, and not that we're like a special podcast or anything, but just the chance that he got to call in and connect with you, and I got to connect with him again and tell some old stories, and it was a lot of fun to do that. I think we need to have Ray back on the podcast again, and I wish Ray would get his podcast back up because his producer, I think, moved away, and he's not able to do his podcast anymore. So I'm trying to think of what else we got into as far as talking about our time with Ray. Is there anything else that we need to wrap up with episode 2?
Don't think so.
All right, so we're going to move into episode 3 again. It's kind of a free-form episode because it's crazy times, and we wanted to kind of just talk about what's going on. So we're dealing with this whole cornholio virus. I don't like to call it COVID-19 or corona. I call it the Beavis cornholio virus. That's what
Why don't you just call it what I call it, the foo?
He calls it the foo. I call it the cornholio virus. You know what I love about this podcast is that I give Xavier a nice mic, I give him headphones, and he still doesn't talk straight into the microphone. He has headphones. He can hear himself, but yet he still talks away from the microphone. Why is that, son?
Yes. I don't know.
Yeah. So I've also found, before we get too far along, that I do this podcast, and I realize that he humors me, and he does this for me. It's not, I don't think sometimes Xavier is like jumping at the bit to do a podcast. I think he does it to humor his dad, and I appreciate that because sometimes it may not be something you want to do or, talk about, but as I was talking to a buddy of mine at work, they were just saying how cool it is to have a dad sit down with his son and talk about things that, like I've said before, you may not understand now, but how cool it would be to go back 20 years and hear your dad or whoever talk about these things, and you'll be like, it clicks with you when you hit 35 or 40 years old. So thank you for humoring me and letting me do this podcast. Yeah. So speaking of podcasts, another one of the reasons why we haven't been doing a lot of podcasts is because I've been cheating on you with another podcast. I'm sorry. Buddy of mine at work, Aaron Bevel, asked me if I would like to co-host a podcast, and we started that up a couple of weeks back. It's called Crossing the Streams with Brent and Aaron, and we talk about music stuff. You can find us wherever you get your favorite podcast at. Did it hurt your feelings that I started up another podcast?
No, not really.
See, I didn't think it did. He's over here yawning. He's like, I don't care. I don't watch my shows, playing my DS and my Switch. I'm good, Dad. So I was a little worried that that might, I didn't think it did.
Nah, it's okay.
I don't think it did. Anyway, Crossing the Streams is my other podcast. If you'd like to check that out. Okay, this cornholio virus, we've been dealing with it now. I've been working from home. I think I'm going on my third week. This is why we've got microphones and fancy equipment in here now. I'm an AV guy at a company, and I got to bring a lot of my stuff home. And so I've got different recording devices and microphones and things like that. So how long have you been out of school, Xavier?
I think about like 3
Talk into the microphone, son.
Better?
Yes.
I think about 3 weeks. I think I'm going on 4.
Were you out before I got out of work, or?
I think I was out. I think that we were all quarantined at the same time.
I think I was the last person in the family to actually, not go to the office. I think I made a personal call. I said, I'm not going to the office anymore. And then the very next day they said, stay home. So what's this been like for you as a 13-year-old? You really don't have anything to compare it to. I think your mom and I have something kind of similar that we can relate it to. We went through 9/11 almost 20 years ago. So not saying it's the same thing, but it's a catastrophic event that the whole country is involved in, and we all kind of have to rally around one another. So you don't have anything to compare it to. So how has this thing? How do you feel about it? What are your? How are you dealing with it? I guess.
I think I'm dealing with it fine.
I mean, do you have? I've tried to talk to you about it. Do you have any anxieties, any fears, or is it just you just take the day as it comes? Because we try to instill, faith in God in you, that God's going to take care of this kind of thing, and you don't have to, you don't have to worry. You don't have to have anxiety, but you're human. So, do you have anything that you worry about with this thing?
Not really, honestly, because like the place that it originated, they've had a significant less number of COVID-19 cases, so.
And plus, we're doing what we're supposed to do. I don't think that you've been outside in 3 weeks. I mean, you're pretty well. This is like your dream come true. You're holed up in your room, watching your videos and your YouTube videos and reading memes, and then it comes to tell me all about his memes. So this is kind of, I need to make you go outside more because you need to see the light of day. There is still life going on outside. That's the more cat sound. So I'm glad to hear that. I've asked you along the way, and I didn't know if you're just kind of placating me or if you're being honest. So there's really, as long as we're doing what we're supposed to do, we're square. I rarely go. Did I wake you up from a nap today? Did you hit your... If you're watching on YouTube, he's yawned, I think, 5 times. This is why I think he does this podcast, because of me. Like, he's over here like, we done yet, Dad? Am I holding you up from something, son?
No.
Okay. Just kidding. I'm glad to hear that you don't have any of the anxiety and fear because, like I said, when 9/11 happened, I mean, that's something that your mom and I can compare to. We have missed some things with it because of this whole cornholio virus. Are there some specific things that you've had to miss out on?
I've missed out on my science fair.
So tell them what you're going to do for your science fair.
So I had 2 ideas. So me and my friend Cole had 3 ideas.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was we are going to get some bread, and one of them would be constant. The next one we would put our dirty hands on it. Then we would have Germex and put it on the bread, and then we would wash our hands with soap and water, and then rub our hands on the bread.
So you started the virus, is what you're telling me right now.
No, but basically what we were trying to do was seeing which one of them would mold fastest.
And what were the results?
None of them molded.
No, I will tell you what the results are. There is 2 pans full of bread laying all over my house.
Actually, they're in the garage.
Oh, they're in the garage now. I said, Xavier, can I get rid of the bread? And you said what?
No.
No. So I have stale bread, not molded, Croutons. I have croutons in my house, in my garage now. So what was the second experiment?
The next one was like we would take an energy drink and pour it on some items and see how they would react.
Like what items?
For example, we took a hammer, poured an energy drink on it, and what we saw was that the hammer would bend. Yeah, maybe we should have seen that the place that we found it was called Science or Magic.
Yeah.
It was my friend Cole's idea.
Yeah, throw Cole under the bus. What are your other science ideas?
Okay, so the one that I'm gonna do with him, basically, I'm gonna take Skittles, milk, water, and a soda like Sprite, and I'll put one flavor of Skittles in each one of them, and see which one dissolves the fastest.
And so he had Mandy buy Sprites, and then he had Mandy buy Skittles, and they sat around the house. And I guess were you waiting to do your science experiment or what?
Yes.
Because I was like, hey, Sprite. So I started pouring Sprites, and then I was told thereafter, hey, that's Sprites for a science experiment. And then there was a bag of Skittles that were sitting around my house for like a week. And I said, what are these Skittles for? It's a science experiment. I'm like, that ain't happening. I'm eating the Skittles. So Mom is going to buy some more Skittles because I don't have any cool or refreshing Mountain Dew this week. I'm on Mountain Dew hiatus for the cornholio virus. I've been drinking lots of Gatorade and water. But
hey, wait, do you have a grape? Can I have a grape?
Yes, I do have Skittles. So you've missed out on the science fair. Tennis. You're on the tennis team. You did get to play one time. Is that right?
I think we had one
match with a place out of Jackson, and you get to do like, did you play your teammates or did you play the other team, like an exhibition?
I think I played my teammates, but I did a doubles match, and in the doubles match, I had one of the other team on my side.
Oh, okay. And we've been watching you. I got to watch you when we went to that match, and I was so impressed at how well that you've advanced in your tennis, because last year when you started, you know anything about tennis, and then you took some lessons with Mr. Seth, who is a wonderful teacher, by the way, and you have improved. I'm bummed that your season has been kind of washed out because of the cornholio virus. Just a side note here, I've been working from home, and I've been doing some voiceover recordings in this room, and I've noticed that, and this is my theory anyway, 90% of the workforce are landscapers because lawnmowers run all day.
Seriously.
I mean, we're recording right now and there's a lawnmower going. So I have to be cognizant of who's mowing their lawn when I do voiceover recordings. Anything else that you missed out on you're kind of bummed out about for this virus thing?
Not really. I don't think so.
The two major things that kind of bummed me out. The first one, we were supposed to do a concerts next weekend down in Dyersburg, Hinson Hill concert, which
Actually, there is one thing, but you go.
Okay, I jinxed myself, so I've been making show posters for all the Hinson Hill shows, and I made a show poster for our April 18th show, and I thought, hey, I'm going to go ahead and print out the poster and hang it up in my room. If you're watching on YouTube, the show poster's right back there. I jinxed myself. I put it up before the actual show. You never do that. Never put up the show poster before the show happens.
Is that an actual thing?
It is now because I jinxed it, and the show is postponed. We're going to reschedule for another time, but unfortunately, we had to postpone things. You had another thing you missed?
Yeah, I'm sure it's one of. I'm sure yours is too. Easter.
Yeah, the bummer thing about we're not able to go to church on Easter and celebrate the resurrection. But I got to say, our church has really rallied and come together. And like last night, we did a communion through a Facebook video. We're doing another Facebook video tonight. The services that they've been putting together are great. And we get together in the living room, and they've got this app called Facebook Watch. We watch it through your Xbox. And the the content that our church puts together. Crosswind Church, by the way, in Union City, fabulous. So if you don't have a home church and you're looking for some answers, you're looking for something, looking for God, check out Crosswind Church during this whole quarantine. They're on Facebook in Union City. So yeah,
don't we also post on Facebook even like before the quarantine?
Yeah. They're on Facebook. We do a live stream every week, but they've really upped their game since this whole quarantine. We're not able to get together, and unfortunately, they still have worship service. The worship band gets together, and I play in the worship band from time to time. Unfortunately, I'm not able to play with the worship band right now because I'm one of those people with a compromised immune system because of my Crohn's disease. I take a drug called Humira, and it lowers my immune system, so I'm not able to get out and be around a lot of people. I've been in the house a lot, so that's kind of a bummer for me. But I'll tell you what, the worship band has been bringing it. Jeremy's been delivering some great messages, and so even though we're not able to get around our church family on Easter, still, I think Jeremy said it last night. We're in his communion message that he brought. It's like we're all the body of Christ, and we're all together through this. So it's really kind of a cool message. I just hate that we're not able to get together with our families. We have been able to do a lot of FaceTiming. I swear, if I never do another Zoom meeting again. You haven't done any Zoom meetings, have you?
No, what is that?
It's like a video chat. And a lot of people at their jobs, they do meetings through Zoom chats or Google Hangout video chats, and I'm overdoing.
Why do you hate it so much?
I don't hate it so much. It's just they go on forever, and sometimes the video drops out, and the audio drops out, the video drops out, and people, their dog will bark, and they don't mute their microphone. So, anywho, the other thing that I'm kind of bummed out about's Pearl Jam's concert at the Bridgestone in Nashville, April 2nd, got postponed. That would have been my 13th show, and that would have been my first show since...
Wait, would have been your 13th show?
It's unlucky. Yeah. 13th.
Wait, I'm 13.
I know. Wow, look at the coincidence there. And it would have been my first show since 2014. But they say hold on to your tickets, and they'll reschedule it. And I've got the new Pearl Jam album. Came out a couple of weeks ago, and I've been so busy with work and podcast stuff that I haven't listened to the whole thing yet. I think my Pearl Jam fan club membership status may be revoked because I haven't listened to the new album yet.
Wait,
I'm exaggerating, Xavier. Just exaggerating a little bit. I'm trying to see. I wrote down some notes to see if we've got Easter Pearl Jam. We have been able to FaceTime with our family. Sometimes they like to FaceTime at 9 o'clock, and everyone knows my bedtime is 8:45. I like to be in bed in the fetal position watching Investigation Discovery Channel. That's what I do. I'm 42. That's how I live. But no, we've been able to FaceTime, which is good. There's lots of things. Here's another thing. There are so many things to be thankful for in regards to our family. I was complaining to a coworker the other day about some work I had to do, and then it was a sobering moment. I messaged her and I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop complaining now. I have a job. A lot of people don't. They're out of a job, they're out of work. So we have to remember the good stuff that we have. That's why, before we have supper, we're thanking the Lord that we have food to eat. We got shelter. As bad as this virus is, we, personally speaking, us, are very, very blessed and very lucky. And I want you to just know how good we've got. I mean, we've got internet. We're not in the dark ages here. We're having to stay home. We're having to stay safe. Listen to the medical professionals. But man, we've got it good. We've got to thank God for all the good stuff that we have going on. So, and you're back there watching meme videos. I swear, this kid brings me meme videos, and I'm 42, and he brings his phone like right up to my eyes, and what do I say?
I can't see it.
I can't read that, Xavier. Just tell me what it says. Jeez. All right. And we have done a lot of things to make the best out of this situation. I mean, we're always on the go during normal life. I mean, it's just go, 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 go. So we're having to stay home, having to stay home on medical advice, but this has given us an opportunity. We've done a lot of family things that we normally don't get the chance to do. We played Uno the other night.
I won both rounds.
Man, he's a good Uno player. He schooled Mandy and me, excuse me, Mandy and I in 2 straight games. Then I was like, I'm done. And then we got one Saturday night, we played Monopoly.
I also won that.
The kid won Monopoly. And at one point, I was just like, this game, Monopoly, it goes on forever. I think after 3 hours, I was like, you know what, just take my money. I'm done. As long as I beat Mandy, you can win. I don't care. And how did you win? Do you remember how you won?
Because I had a lot of money.
But what property did you get?
The railroads.
No.
The electric company.
Well, the electric company did help. The utilities did help. But I did a trade with him, and I gave you Park Place for something else, and then you put hotels on.
The beginning two slots, you mean?
No, Boardwalk and Park Place, the last 2, the most expensive ones. I landed on
those 2.
I think I landed on Boardwalk, and my rent I had to pay, it was like $3,000 or something like that. And I was like, you know what, I'm done. So we've done that. We've played lots of games.
Wasn't there one with Moms? Was it either $900? Was it $900?
Yeah, there was a lot of money being exchanged. So we have played games. What was that other like Dungeons and Dragons type game that you got? The boss battle thing?
Yeah, boss monsters.
We can't really play D&D because you need more than 2 people. And plus...
Actually, I think you can still play with 2 people, but it's still a lot.
I can't figure out D&D. I want to. I just can't wrap my head around it. And then I got this guy over here who can't explain the directions to me. You got to take control of the situation. You've got to teach me because I'm clueless when it comes to D&D. I like D&D, though. And then we had movie nights last Friday night. What did we watch?
We watched Onward. thumbs up. I know I don't like to give too much praise to Disney because they are the evil giant, but thumbs up to Disney. And we are Jaden Coleman.
We always think Disney's listening into our conversations. They probably are. Thumbs up to Disney Plus for putting Onward on earlier than what they, because it's would have still been in theaters by now, right?
Yeah, actually, I think that this is like a new thing for Pixar. This is one of the first Pixar movies to ever be released digitally while it's still in theaters.
Yeah, because you can't go to the theater. So I didn't know what to think about Onward going into it. I was like elves and magic and stuff, but it's so good. It's got a great story, and I know Mandy was tearing up. I'm tearing up at the end. It's one of my favorite Pixar movies as of late. What did you think?
I thought it was really good. I'm trying to think of.
I go into 5-minute detailed explanations. Xavier, what'd you think? Thought it was good.
Well, you weren't able to let me finish when I was going to say.
By all means, take the floor.
I mean, I'm trying to think of.
And talking to the microphone when you take the floor.
It was a really good movie about family, and it has a lot of references to like Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering and stuff like that.
Which that's hitting your all your high points because you like D&D and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a really good movie, and it has a lot of pretty good jokes, and yeah, it's just really good. And
your mother decided to do a Pokemon jigsaw puzzle during this whole quarantine. And she had it out on the kitchen table for like, a week and a half?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was like so close to finishing it. There was just a couple parts left. And I went in there the other day, and I wanted to finish it before she got a chance to, just to, screw around with her. And I got really close to the end, but I didn't quite finish it. But she finally finished it. It's on the kitchen table. We need to get some of that stuff. Xavier, you want to put it on like a poster?
Yeah.
Because it's Pikachu, right?
Yeah, basically it has like hundreds of pictures of Pikachu, and then in the middle there are a ton of other Pokemon, and it's in like this hole in there that looks like Pikachu.
There's a lot of yellow. That's all I remember.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Another thing that we are doing, and excuse me, sorry, clearing my throat, but Xavier and I are going to record a video of a song. So as I mentioned earlier, we were supposed to play the band I'm in, Hinson Hill. We We were supposed to play in Dyersburg next Saturday night, but instead, we're going to try to do an online concerts where each member like videotapes 2 or 3 songs, and then I'm going to kind of edit it all together. And I encouraged everybody. I was like, do it, do solo songs or bring your family in. So I asked Xavier if he wanted to do a song with me, and to my surprise, he said yes. And what song did you pick?
When Can I See You Again?
And who sings that?
Owl City.
And where did we hear that from?
Wreck-It Ralph.
And see, he sings that song all the time, and I had forgotten about that song, but it's catchy as all get out. Owl City also, I guess their biggest hit, Fireflies. Did you hear that one?
I think I did, but I don't remember it.
So we've been practicing this song 2 or 3 times this week, and I think we're doing pretty good. We're going to try to record it either tonight or tomorrow. I'm playing the guitar, and Xavier's singing on it, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that. And one other thing, we talked about church service with Easter. Excuse me. The folks at Crosswind asked Mandy and myself to do the introductions for the Crosswind Easter service. So we went out in the backyard. I guess it was on Wednesday, and we had Xavier take Mandy's phone, and he was our cameraman. And then Mandy and I had a microphone, and we did the introductions, and I edited the video together and uploaded it somewhere to the cloud. And Matt Crossan grabbed that, and they're going to put that in the Easter service, the video, because it's a pre-recorded service, so they're going to put us in the Easter service. So you'll see me and Mandy up front and center on Sunday morning. We did not give you credit as our cameraman, but you did a bang-up job. Maybe a little bit more headroom, but I'm not going to complain too much. So you had fun doing that. Also, one thing that I want to point out, I know a lot of you can't probably see this. If you go back and watch episode 1, season 1, the change in Xavier, he's really growing up, and I can tell because he's getting a mustache. This is freaking me out. My son, the kid that I cradled as a baby, is getting a mustache. And the sad part is he has more of a mustache at 13 than I did at 35. This is really making me upset. So, but seriously, go back and look at the first episode and how much he's changed. We haven't even done this a year yet, so he's really coming along.
We haven't.
Yeah,
when was our first episode?
It was in August, right when you were starting 7th grade. Yeah. And who knows if you'll end 7th grade because you're out of school. When's the date now? When have they pushed it back to?
You mean going back to school?
Yeah.
May 4th. I wouldn't be surprised.
Be with you.
What?
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if it gets pushed back even more, though.
Yeah, I know schools in Michigan. I was talking to Mom and some other folks up there. I think school has been called off in Michigan for the rest of the year. But
do you think that they'll push back even more to summer, or do you think that since there are a lot of, or do you think that since they send home work or school work with them, do you think that?
I honestly don't know because I saw one of your teachers. Well, not your teacher, but a teacher in the school system post that you pretty well have all the stuff. They've taught you everything you need to know for the test. That's done by like late February, early March. So you've got all the stuff to take the test. Everything after that's kind of like fluff. So
not to mention they don't even if you think about it, we've got better source of learning with our phones and stuff like that than we would have with the teachers.
Really? Not
necessarily, but
no.
It's
don't
easier
discount.
It's easier to access.
Don't discount your teachers because I saw a meme the other day and it said there's a parent on the phone to the school and said, "Yes, I'd like to call in for a substitute, please." I thought that was funny. Parents want it. Never mind. Your teachers.
I am not trying to say that teachers do not do a great job. They do a lot of them do great jobs.
All of them have to put up with you kids all day, every day. I give my cousins, Jeremy and Jody, who are principals, I give them a lot of hassle because they get a lot of time off because they're teachers. And I'm like, man, I never get as much time off as you guys do. Admittedly, when you work with kids, you deserve it because...
Seriously,
I've been around kids and I'm like, I need a break.
seriously, whenever when I'm at school and I'm in my like a busy class with a lot of kids, I sometimes I go up to my teacher and go like, why do you do this to yourself?
And that's also because I think you're an only child, and you're like,
Yeah.
You're not used to being around. That's like me. I like my solitude, my space every now and again. I forgot to bring up a point about being home during this whole cornholio thing. Are you keeping a regular schedule? We won't even get into what Mandy does, because I'm going to get up and go get her. I need my routine. I'm not going to throw Mandy under the bus here, because she does go back into her she shed and she works every day. But I get up at 6:27 every day. I'm in the shower by 7. I'm dressed and in my office, this room, by 7:20, and I'm ready. I'm trying to keep some normalcy where I do the same thing every day. I used to enjoy being in this room, and now that it's my office and I'm in here 8 hours a day, I kind of hate it. But are you keeping a sense of normalcy? The one thing that, and I'm at fault here, is you are in your room way too much. You need to get out more, because I'm like, if you stay in that room, you're just going to, you need some sunlight, you need some, but I mean, I get it. You're in there and you're playing your games and you got your stuff in there. So I was like that way when I was a kid. But my question, how are you keeping normalcy?
So most weekdays I get up, get some breakfast, and then I usually get to work. So I usually, kind of depends on what I do. Most of the I started with my math stuff and then worked my way down.
So your teachers did give you work to complete while you're on this little sabbatical here, right?
Yeah, just about every one of them did.
And I'm going to throw Xavier under the bus here. For like the first week, I don't think the kid ever got out of his pajamas. And finally, I was like, hey, starting tomorrow, we get dressed and we live like normal human beings, even though the world is crazy outside, and just go about like you're at school. And so you do. You get up and you get dressed, and you go in and you start, right? I mean, I come in here and close the door. Your mom goes out in the she shed. But when I go out, you're in there working on your schoolwork. We trust you to do that, and you're in there getting your stuff done. So how's that? I mean, everything working out for you?
Yeah, usually I work on my schoolwork from like around 7:30 to 8 to around 10 to 11.
Yeah, you're not putting in a full 8 hours of school. But I mean, you do everything that we ask you to do. And even, at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, go unload the dishwasher, go vacuum. And he's up and he's doing it. But you get you got leeway to play your games and things like that. But
yeah.
One thing, you got to get out of your room more, because you need some sunlight. I've sat in this room all day today, so I can't really say a whole lot. But so things are good for you, despite having to be in the house all the time.
Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear that. So going forward, we're on episode 3 of season 2. We're at home. We might as well do some more podcast episodes. Plus, I'm paying Podbean for our subscription, so we might as well get use out of it. Are there any episode topic ideas that you really want to talk about, even if it's stuff that I have no interest in? Because there's some of the stuff he comes up with, I just sit and listen to him, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're saying. So do you have anything like that anything off the top of your head? If not, it's fine.
Off the top of have we talked about video games?
We have talked about video games. We can go back to that at some point. We can go back to movies. We can go back to just look at it in a different type of, a way of looking at a different movie. Because we started a couple of movies. Like I wanted to watch the movie Big Fish with you. We started that. We haven't finished it yet. You remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
It was kind of a strange one, but it's a good father-son movie, and we just haven't had a chance to finish it. Some other movie? Oh, we watched The Dark Knight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had him watch The Dark Knight. I
good.
say it's top 5 my all-time favorite films. And what were your thoughts on it?
I thought it was pretty good. Probably not that high on my list, but it was pretty good.
Man, Dark Knight, such a good movie.
My question is, how is Two-Face not getting any diseases? Like,
Well, I guess...
having half of his skin off, probably.
Hey, spoiler alert, pal. Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah, spoilers.
Sorry, it's been 12 years. So we can talk about movies. Or we had the thought, if you guys watching or listening to the podcast are sitting out there and you're like, hey, I would love to hear Brent and Xavier talk about this, or what are their thoughts on this sort of thing? You can leave us some comments on our YouTube channel. You can leave the comments on our Facebook page, on my Facebook page. You can email us whatever you'd like to do, or you can just tell us in person, because mostly, like a lot of our family and friends, watch this and listen to this. So if there's a topic that they want us to cover, we would love to do that as well. And I try to come up with some different subject ideas. Hopefully, we won't go another 3 months without doing a podcast episode. Yeah. And I apologize for that. I have been immersed with the other podcasts that I do. It's been very busy, but this one's kind of easy to put together. We just sit down and we talk. And of course, after we're done, he goes and plays his video game, and then the hard work begins for me. But luckily, I've got all this equipment home here during this, this quarantine. So it's a lot easier to put these videos together. So we'll think on some ideas, and hopefully we'll come back with another episode before too long. Is there anything? Brent celebrates a birthday in a couple of weeks. Maybe we can do something centered around that.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah, maybe we'll do some sort of birthday. You're going to give me a CD? You see what I did there as a harking back? Never mind. So
I understand.
Thank you guys for bearing with us. I know as subscribers or followers of this podcast or this YouTube channel, we hope to have more content more often, but it's just been kind of crazy. So we'll try to do our best to get some more content up and get it rolling as soon as we can. But thank you guys for all the support. And I know I want to say thank you, Xavier, for allowing me to sit here and blabber. If I talk too much, just say, hey, Dad, I would like to talk a little now and again, which is ironic because usually around the house, I don't say anything and Xavier talks nonstop.
It's true.
It's all true. Every sentence begins with, hey, Dad. And then also, so basically, that's what I deal with day in and day out. So thank you for putting up with me on this podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It's kind of a break from format, but we thought it was kind of necessary given our situation here. And maybe we'll come back with another question and answer podcast here in the near future. Hopefully not so distant future, near future, whatever I'm babbling. We'll finish it out. So thank you guys for tuning in to episode 3 of Conversations with Myself.
A journey of self-discovery.
Hey, I just realized something.
Yeah?
We weren't social distancing during this podcast. Sorry. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys in episode 4. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.